Hello students, this is the continuation of the previous video of chapter 4. In the previous video, we discussed about the subsidiary alliance scheme which was introduced by Lord Wellesley. Now we will see further the policy of annexation which was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. So open page number 21. The aim of Wellesley's policy of expansion was to enslave the native kingdoms without using much of the British resources. So, Wellesley introduced the subsidiary alliance policy, and the aim of this policy, the aim of this Wellesley was to enslave the native kingdoms, आजू बाजू के जो किंगडम्स थे अड़ोस पड़ोस के, उसको गुलाम बनाने का, विदाउट यूजिंग मच ऑफ द ब्रिटिश रिसोर्सेज, और उसमें ब्रिटिशर्स कोई खर्चा न करे और उन लोगों के साथियों का इस्तेमाल न करें. The state that accepted the subsidiary alliance considered the British as their friends. So those states who accepted the subsidiary alliance thought that the British were their friends and would protect them. So they became irresponsible and their administration started deteriorating. So eventually, in the absence of internal and external threat, they became irresponsible. So they thought that Britishers were their friend, so they became irresponsible, and the result was their administration started deteriorating. उनका जो काम काज था वो ठप होने लगा. The outcome of the conspiracy of the British was the anarchy in many princely states. And what was the result of this conspiracy? Shadyantra. Conspiracy means Shadyantra of the British, that anarchy in many princely states. There was disorder. Anarchy means there was disorder in many princely states. The Indian rulers got trapped in it, and जो इंडियन रूलर्स थे वो उसको झांसे में आ गए, trapped in it. The British got an excuse to start interfering into the internal affairs of these states on the pretext of putting an end to the anarchy. And when this situation came, the British got an excuse, उन लोगों को एक बहाना मिल गया, to start interfering, दखल देना, into the internal affairs of the states. And the reason was that they wanted to put an end to this anarchy. They annexed many states under the same excuse. और इसके बहाने से many states were annexed, उन लोगों ने अपने कब्जे में कर लिया. Thereafter, Burma and region of Punjab were also annexed. And which were annexed? Burma and region of Punjab. If the king died without a son, his state was annexed. That is, जो राजा मर गया without लड़के son, then there was nobody to rule on, and their state was taken away by the Britishers. In this way, Satara, Jhansi, Nagpur, etc. became the victims of policy of annexation. Like this, state like Satara, Jhansi, Nagpur, they became the victims of policy of annexation. That means the Britishers took these states under their control. Now turn your page number 22. Dalhousie aimed at helping the British traders to make huge profits from the trade of tea, coffee, and cotton by capturing the areas that produce these commodities on a large scale. Then next, what Dalhousie did? He started helping the traders by helping the British traders, he made huge profits. बहुत नफ़ा किया उसने. किस काम में? For trading किया टी, कॉफ़ी एंड कॉटन. एंड दिस ट्रेडिंग ही डिड बाय कैप्चरिंग द एरियाज जहाँ पे ये सब प्रोड्यूस होते थे, उसको कैप्चर कर लिया, अपने कब्जे में कर लिया ऑन अ लार्ज स्केल. To consolidate the British rule in India and to run the administration smoothly, many changes were introduced by Dalhousie in India. Then Dalhousie also brought many changes and consolidated means उसने combine किया. To consolidate the British rule in India, एकत्रीकरण combine किया, and to rule the administration smoothly, many changes were introduced by Dalhousie. During his tenure, the first railway line was started between Mumbai and Thane in 1853 CE. The first changes was he introduced railway line between Mumbai and Thane. The modern postal system started in India and wireless system between India and England too was introduced during his tenure. Secondly, modern postal system, Dak Seva, post office, was started between India and England during the time of Dalhousie. He passed laws to ban child marriages and advocated widow remarriage. The third was he passed a law, उसने कायदा पसार किया to ban child marriages, छोटे बच्चों का विवाह, and advocated widow remarriage. English education spread in India during his time. During the time of Dalhousie, English education was started. The first three universities in India were established in Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata in the year 1857 CE. And the first during his time, the three universities were established in Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. Thus, these reforms were basically for the expansion of British rule and ease in administration. So all the above reforms, changes, they were for the expansion of British rule. British rule को expand करने के लिए and to administer it easily, to carry on the administration easily. Although Indians benefited later on, they had to suffer a lot with the introduction of British reform. Now the Indians, they had benefited, उन लोगों को फ़ायदा हुआ जो रिफॉर्म्स डेलहाउसी ने किया उससे, लेकिन they had to suffer a lot, उन लोगों को बहुत सहन करना पड़ा with the introduction of British reforms. Dissatisfaction of people. After the policy of subsidiary alliance, Dalhousie's policy of annexation shook the whole nation terribly. So after the subsidiary alliance policy was introduced, another policy of annexation introduced by Dalhousie shook the whole nation terribly. पूरे देश को हिला दिया. This resulted in the dissatisfaction among the people towards the British, and due to this, the British were dissatisfied against the British. You must have seen the film Kranti and Mangal Pandey. If you have not seen, then try and see this movie. So, this it is shown that what happened when the Britishers ruled, and it is shown in Kranti and Mangal Pandey. At this time, the people were suppressed under the dictatorial regime of the British. So at that time, the people were suppressed. उन लोगों को दबाया जा रहा था under the dictatorial regime. Dictatorial regime means one person has a power to rule, and regime in this शासन, उनके एक शासन में, उनके system में, and due to this, the people were very much suppressed. They were very much in trouble. In addition to that, the reforms made by Dalhousie added fuel to the fire. ये सब तो लोग झेल रहे थे, उसमें Dalhousie introduced the reforms, and these reforms, they added a fuel to the situation. Added a fuel to fire means it make the problem worse. उन लोगों की तकलीफ और बढ़ गई. Different people reacted differently to railways, facilities of post and telegraph, and western education. So the different peoples were there. They gave their reaction differently on the reforms made by Dalhousie in railways, in post and telegraph, and in western education. Orthodox people felt that the British wanted to destroy their culture. They were orthodox people, पुराने ख्यालात वाले लोगों थे. They thought that the British wanted to destroy their culture. उन लोगों की संस्कृति को वो बिगाड़ रहे थे. The reforms done by the British were basically for running the administration smoothly. But the changes, the reforms that the Dalhousie had done was for running the administration smoothly. The dissatisfaction of people had reached a point of saturation, but लोगों को असंतोष था. तो this dissatisfaction, they reached the point of saturation, चरम सीमा पर पहुंच गया था, and they were in the state of rebellion, and वो लोग विद्रोह करने तक पहुंच गए थे, which resulted in the freedom movement of 1857, and this brought in the freedom movement of 1857. So students, here your chapter number 4 is over. So for homework, you have to write your answers in workbook, and for your unit test, the portion is chapter 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you have to read your textbook as well as workbook and prepare for your unit test, which is of 40 marks.